Happy Friday, it's Knitting with Nancy.
Good morning. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show today. And we have a number of things to go over today. First, I want to ask, though, for those who have signed on already, how are you doing on your fog cutter sweater? Before I move forward on it, because today's kind of the last day of talking about it, because next Wednesday, remember we start at 9:15 next Wednesday, which I believe is July 1st, I think. So, no, that's the following week, 24th, excuse me, I'm already ahead a week. But we're going to go over seaming and putting it together next week. So hopefully some of you will have some parts done. How are you all doing? Any comments yet?
I know, as you guys get on here, why don't you just
Wake
check
up.
in and tell us how you're doing on your fog cutter.
And I know some were just starting now. So let's move forward, though, a little bit. What I do want to talk about today, and I started about the sleeves last week, so we're going to let Val come in close on the sleeves. And, of course, I didn't move the bookcase, so she's going to bump it. I did both sleeves at the same time. And why did I do that? So that they were equal. But let's talk about how we measure for the sleeves. So if you recall, the sweater has a drop shoulder. So you need to, when you're done with your front, hold it up and see how far down the shoulder goes. And the reason why is that's where you're measuring from there down to the length that you would like for your sleeve. So when I measured Annette, she wanted 14-inch sleeves. And those are 3/4 inch from here. So they'll hit just about where my sweater is right now. She didn't want longer ones. The pattern says 16 inches. You can do 16 inches and just follow the pattern and wing it, but I want you to be happy with your product. Again, you're going to check gauge as you go up and then measure. Questions?
I have a question personally.
Okay.
My question is, can you do just a front and a back and just have those as drop without even adding a sleeve?
Yep.
Would you add like a cuff to the...
No, but what I might do, because this isn't a full finish, although it does look nice, but if you notice it will have a little roll because your seaming will come to this edge. Let's pull this up so you can get in. You might then pick up all these bumps all the way around, and I would pick up and then I would bind off.
Oh, so not add any more rows?
You're not adding rows, you're just putting a little edge on. Yeah. You could crochet a little picot edge. You could pick up and bind off in picot. And how would you know how to do a bind off? Let's go right into the book I've always been talking about of Cast On, Bind Off, because if I go to the index, I'm going to make Val work. It has decorative bind offs. So if I go to page 124, you'll see there are some different edges you could do.
Because I'm just thinking how lazy I am about sleeves.
Right. So here's the picot bind off I was talking about.
Cool.
On it. And I think we went over the picot when we did the Odyssey shawl, because that had a picot bind off, and we used this book. So you could do this, and you could get different types of picots. Or you could just bind off. But I do suggest picking up and then binding off.
Fancy schmancy.
It is.
Okay, sorry to interrupt.
That's okay.
But I just thought that would be interesting because it could be a cute little summer top.
But if you think, I mean, there are look at all the pages like it's showing you. There are so many different types of bind offs. that you could pick anything fancy that you like on it.
Cool.
So I recommend, again, I keep recommending this book to be a book that you put in your library because I go to it for so many different things. And later in the fall, I'm teaching a Mobius cowl, Mobius cast on and cowl class. And we will also have this book for that cast on. So there's a lot in this book. Any other questions?
Oh, nope.
So I am going to assume, I love that word, not really, that everybody has finished their front.
We have crickets.
We have crickets. Are we awake yet? And we've done our sleeves, and now I want to show the back. The back essentially is the same as the front. When you start off, it has that same detail here and here, if I pull it over. But you will notice that this bottom in the back is 1 inch longer than what's up front, up on the front. And the reason why is, if you recall, we are offsetting it. The back goes 1 inch lower than the front. So if I come to match these up when I sew, and here's my 1 inch that I'm also leaving open, this is how it will look when you sew it together.
Oh, that's cute.
So you need to remember that on it. And once you finish, it has this little edge detail, and once you're up that full inch, or as they say, 8 rows, then you're going straight up the back or putting in waist shaping if you chose to do it. Annette didn't want waist shaping, so I'm just going straight up. And it's reverse stockinette. So it's kind of like, oh good, I'm in the home stretch. It has you, and interesting enough in the pattern, it has you reduce 10 stitches from this ribbing. And usually I agree with that for garter stitch because it spreads out, and I know that this will spread. But I was a little concerned in the pattern. The front only had you decrease half of that, roughly 5 stitches. And so I wanted to go back on Ravelry, and we've talked about how to get on Ravelry, and see if anybody had comments, which I didn't see actually in the comments, that the back went in too small after the ribbing. But I went ahead and took out the 10 stitches needed, and really like how it's lying. And it is lying quite nicely, and it did not pull in. So the stockinette, reverse stockinette, which is bigger than a rib, I know that, not as big or wide, I should say, as you would get with garter, didn't expand it and stayed straight. So I was pleased. It didn't really go in. Most times, if you've done sweaters before, you do a ribbing and you increase by 1 to 10 stitches. And here it was interesting to do a decrease.
So do you think it's different on the front because the front is cabled?
Well, it is. And cables pull in yarn differently, and I knew that for it. It offset to make the cable chart work, those stitches. So I wasn't too concerned on the front when it asked me to decrease, because those decrease needed to be to keep the cable in pattern, so to say. So that made sense to me somehow. But here on the back, I thought it would just be straight up. So it threw me a curve somewhat that I wanted to research it, and it does work quite beautifully. So we're moving along with no questions.
No questions.
God. Well, maybe you guys don't need me right now, huh?
So next week you're going to do
Seaming,
correct?
and so what I need you to have,
technique.
we're going to go over how to seam the sides together and join them.
And
now,
the sleeves.
And the sleeves, everything. You do not need to block first. and I know the pattern, and I think I discussed this last week too. The pattern talks about blocking first. And the reason why I don't block first is if my row counts between my front and my back are not equal, when I go to seam these together, I might have to fudge a little. Very technical term. And it's harder to do if you set it, which is what blocking does. Mm-hmm. So if you want to do a light steam, maybe, if you think the edges curl too much, what I'm going to show you on samples next week, I don't mind the curled edges. They actually don't disturb me. But if that really freaks you out, go ahead. But we're going to go into seaming, and it's going to be a little intense. I'm not going to show too much new product because seaming really throws people, and it makes a difference how you seam. And there are different ways to seam. A lot of people like the mattress stitch, which is kind of like a zipper, and when you pull it, you pull the string and it kind of zips everything up together. I tend to not like that because when I do it, I get bumps. And I've never been very good at the mattress stitch. So I do a ladder stitch back and forth. And I do things a little bit differently, joining what the shoulder will be to the body of the sweater on it, which we'll do flat before we do the side seams. I will have mine all sewn together so you can see it, and then I will have swatches. So if you don't have your sweater done, don't worry, but I recommend doing a few little 4-inch swatches just so you can practice and know what I'm talking about, or come back to the videos later to go over it, because seaming is what makes your work really beautiful, and without that, it's kind of not so nice. And a lot of people come to me, they've put all this time and effort into knitting, and then they've put it together and they don't like the way it looks. And most of that comes down to seaming. So I tell people, to me, it's the most fun. I love seaming things together. But let's go over some new stuff that we have in the store. And I'm going to pull this down so I don't have to get up and show everybody. As you all know, I love my cocoa knits. For the next pattern that we're doing, which will probably be using Quechua, I am using these markers and the little markers as well. So I really love this whole flight of stitch markers. We have it up on our website, and it's $26. The other ones that I like that I've shown are the little safety pin ones, and these are $9.75 and also up on our website. So again, my favorite products. I showed you, I think I started to show Arno last week. We didn't really get into it. Arno is a beautiful yarn. It is, as I said, 57 cotton, 43 merino. So it's kind of like an all year round yarn. And we do have the book. And I love the book, and it just went out in our newsletter. It has some beautiful patterns. This is the sweater pattern that Val just showed you, and it's done in this color. My favorite sweater is actually the Emmy sweater because I like this little lace detail, and I like cardigans. We have, why I'm excited, is coming next week are 6 new colors. So we're really excited. They should be here by Tuesday. We'll get them up online as quickly as possible. There are some new patterns that are coming with it. Really, really pretty. You can't see it yet, I don't think, on Barocco's website. I'm not sure. They might have released it right now. They have released all their fall yarns, but apparently they're not up. With that, I want to show you the 3 books from Barocco we carry. They're portfolio books. For those who know me from back east, we did a lot from the portfolio book number 1. And Val, if you can turn it over, one of my favorite shawls is what's on the back because it's like feathers. So it's really pretty. These were our 3 favorites of the 6. We might bring in the other ones. They are beautiful books for it. This is our newest yarn. I'm not sure I even showed you. It wasn't available last week to show you. It is here now. It is called Quechua. It is, I want to just, 164 yards, $13 retail. It is 60% extra fine merino, 20% baby alpaca, and 20% yak. Yeah. It has a hand to it that is so soft and so beautiful, and it has a gorgeous, gorgeous drape to it. The colors are very fallish for them and deep, and I really like this color palette as opposed to some of the other brighter palettes. The book that they've put out with this is a really beautiful lace cowl. It's quite large. It's 340 stitches and the pattern, but you only go up 8 inches, roughly 9 inches on it. I will have the sample, and this one we are going to do the shawl for here in the store in this gold color, so we're really excited. This is one of Val's favorite colors, so she chose it.
I wouldn't wear it, but I think it's a funky color.
Oh, I might make her wear it one day. But some of the other patterns I just want to show because it also has, and if you can get in, a really nice sweater. And if you look at this neck detail here on one side, it's really quite lovely to me. And again, here's that drop shoulder, just like we're doing now. And this is one of my favorite shawls as well. So it's 2 color, 2 tones. You could do it in a single color, which also is beautiful. I looked at it online. And this is, I love this coat. I'm not sure about making it. It's a lot of work, but I told Val if we do it, it would look great on her. It's just what she would wear because it's beautiful. She said she would not do it because it would not get finished.
I
and
would
with
never
all
get
that she is doing, I believe that. But it is quite beautiful. So Barocco, for most of you who know me, is a company that I really like. Nora Gahn was one of the original designers that I had met and worked with in my years with Barocco. She has moved forward and doing some of her own designs, but what you will see in some of these books that, like number 1, that's a little older, you will have her designs, and they're really beautiful. She's a fabulous designer. Are there any questions today? We seem to have kind of whipped through.
Well, I think if anybody does have any questions about your knit along that you're working on, if anybody's stuck, make sure you post them in the comments, call Nancy at the shop. I could you can email
get back
us.
To you. Please remember next Wednesday we are switching to 9:15. And the reason why is we are going to start other knit-alongs here in the store this summer on Fridays. So the first one starting August 21st, Pitch. Now, let me take these off so I don't see double. Pitch is a beautiful sweater. We're very excited to have Ultra Alpaca from Barocco coming in, but we will also have Blue Sky Fibers wool stock, and we also have their Aran Extra. So you'll have 3 yarn choices depending on your price points, and touch and feel what you would like. For this, it is a large knit along. It is more like a sweater coat, but it is just beautiful.
Maybe next week you can show pictures.
I'll show pictures. But what I'm going to do on Wednesdays is continue with different techniques, different cast-ons and bind-offs, and we're going to do different knit-alongs on Wednesdays. So you can, if you're not here in the store and can't partake in Pitch or come to the class, we'll do a different one on Wednesdays. And we're talking about putting some of the Pitch on a Zoom or on a Facebook Live so that other people could join us that are not here within Central Oregon. So let us know how you would like to see it. We're also going to start some crochet alongs that Paula's going to start doing. and we'll introduce those maybe on a Wednesday as well. And Paula will have some classes, and new kits are coming in, and lots of new knitting kits. So have a great weekend. To all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day, and I wish you all the best. Bye.
Take care, everyone. Thank you.